Hey yo, it's the Black Rose here, and it's time to review Stranger Things Season 5. So, what a journey this show has been on. Yeah, I've enjoyed this thoroughly for over a decade. I've loved every season. Yeah, it's one of my favorite shows all time. Duffer Brothers should be very proud of themselves. Cast should be very proud of themselves. Yeah, production crew, yeah, the unsung heroes of filmmaking. Yeah, it was everyone terrific job. Loved your show. Can't wait to see where you go next. So, yeah, there's been a lot of mixed stuff going around about this final season, and yeah, it's like two extremes. Like I feel like fans that didn't get exactly what they wanted are kind of giving it this overly bad like score, and yeah, there's me and like most of the critics who are being fair. They're like, it's fine. I'd say a little better than fine. But but yeah, then then there's ultra loyal fans who are like, everything's excellent. It's impossible for it to be imperfect. Yeah, how dare you insult Stranger Things? Yeah, yeah, it's the extremes, and people like me to actually they're actually trying to figure something out. So yeah, and a lot of the more negative stuff, like I've seen a lot of people equating it to the Game of Thrones finale. Yeah, that show. And yeah, I think that's a huge overreaction. Yeah, I really hated the Game of Thrones final season. Was a mess. Yeah, on every level. But yeah, so with this show, let me think about the seasons for a minute. Like with 5 season shows, I like to try to rank each season. So yeah, the first season, kicking things off with this franchise, Stranger Things season 1, even though it like special effects and sci-fi wise wasn't nearly as impressive, the nostalgia of that first season and like just how well set up it was, just how perfect a story it was, that somehow no one had thought of something like it before. It's pretty good. Like it deserves so much kudos just for how brilliant an idea it was, and it was executed well. All right, season 2. So I liked season 2. I was a big fan there, but I remember some people I watched with started to lose interest in it because it kind of lost a bit of the 80s theme. Like, yeah, part of what people that aren't ultra nerdy like me enjoyed about it was the 80s nostalgia, I guess. But yeah, when they started moving sort of away from that, yeah, they kind of lost a bit of interest. Yeah, and I didn't think the Demodogs were as cool as the Gorgon. But, yeah. So, yeah, that's interesting. I'm not sure how to compare that with season 1. Yeah, they're both good. Third season, yeah, part of what I really liked, even though I said I didn't care in season 2, but like I think what brought people back was the mall. They liked returning to the 80s stuff. And yeah, I also liked the age the kids were at in that season. They were kind of like late middle school, I guess. Yeah, and that worked well. Yeah, like that. And it was a good, that mall, like it was a good scene, kind of tell stories of kids about that age. So that's where we got Robin. Yeah, that group was awesome. Yeah, and at that point, like each of the first the trio of first seasons, like part of what really impressed me about it was they kind of had this same setup with these weird occurrences, but people being afraid to go to anyone about them because they don't want to seem crazy or paranoid. But yeah, but it all builds up to one thing. And after that first season, I was like, I think like that charm, like that's such a good way to set up the story, but I feel like you can't do that anymore because like it's just going to seem far-fetched that, after you've seen what you've seen, that Demogorgon, that you're not going to immediately go to anyone that knows about this other dimension when something weird's up. But every time, like
Like at least in the first 3 seasons, it all tied together so well, and it was totally believable that they weren't just then they weren't assuming it was all part of the Upside Down, like these weird occurrences. So yeah, I was very impressed they managed to keep that setup alive and make it believable each time. But then season 4, they kind of got away from it, and I didn't mind. It was, yeah, because they still told a good story. So even though it wasn't set up quite that same charming way, it still ended up fine. See, so yeah, and season 4, you got Vecna. Yeah, I started seeing him for the first time. I really loved season 4. That's up there too. Largely because of Vecna. That character was good. And that's where we started to get kind of away from 11 a little bit. At least in my opinion, it felt like we were, because I feel like part of that was the cast had become so big at that point, we started to see less of her. Like at first, it almost felt like she was the main character, but yeah, like as the show went on, it kind of got more away from her. And I honestly, I didn't mind, because yeah, like the cast was good. Like people complain they never really had to pay that big a price for anything, but like it's hard to cut a member of that cast loose because each character was so charming. So yeah, I'll talk a bit more about that later, but now we got season 5. So God, it's so hard to rank those seasons. Like I remember I did this for Camp Cretaceous, if you know that. Yeah, that show. I was like, okay, where does this finale season rank among each of the seasons? That was real easy to do. It was hard. It's harder to do with this show. Yeah, like what season would I truly say is best? What's worst? What's in the middle? Yeah, that's hard. Because I didn't dislike any of them. So I'm gonna put season 4 at 1. Gotta feel like that's all around the best season. I'll put season 1 seconds. Yeah, like that. Brilliant story setup, just terrific idea, executed well. Oh yeah, that's got to be 2. And at 3, let's see. What's the third best? I'll go with season 3 is the third best. I just, yeah, it feels right to me. So, is this season or season 2 on the bottom? What do you think? You know what? I'll put this above season 2. I'd say 5 is at 4. Season 2 probably is the worst of the seasons, but I didn't dislike it. I didn't dislike any of the seasons. So yeah, that's where I'd consider this season to rank among each season. I'd say it's the second worst, but like that's a bad way of saying it. Yeah, I guess we should say it's the 4th best. It is a better way of saying it, because I didn't dislike any season. It's been a terrific show all the way through. So yeah, and another thing I think needs attention about this particular season is terrific acting performances all around. Go through some of the cast, like really they were all terrific, but I'll name some specific names I think I should. So yeah, Finn Wolfhard as Mike. Yeah, he was excellent this season. Yeah, his emotional journey with Elle, he'd become a man, kind of like that's part of what I felt from season 4 to 5 is that trio, the original 4, Will, Mike, Dustin, and Lucas. They all kind of became men. They like going from season 4 to 5, they became adults. Yeah, especially Mike. He had become this, soldier. Yeah, like Hop, turned to him, like he was this, like he was a badass, several times. Didn't see him as a lesser. Was like, yeah, you're one of the grunts. Yeah, you're like the guys I served with. Yeah, so yeah, I'll also shout out. Hope I'm pronouncing this right. Gaten Matarazzo, or Gaten Matarazzo. He plays Dustin. Yeah, I love that guy. Like I remember, part of what everyone loved about season 1 so much is they were like, that character Dustin is excellent. Love him. Yeah, he's definitely one of my favorite characters.
yeah, he was clutch all show, and he's become very smart. He's kind of become the brainiac of that group. Like, he understood the physics of a wormhole. Like, that's cool. Yeah, and it was cool seeing him stand up for himself, even when he knew it was gonna get beat up. He did what he thought was right. Yeah, which on one hand was stupid, but gotta respect it a little, I guess. Yeah. Right. Yeah, Caleb McLaughlin as Lucas. He was. I liked Lucas. Feel like he didn't get quite as much screen time as some of the other characters, but yeah, like him portraying like how Lucas lusted for Max to wake up, like he so concerned about her, like that care in his eyes. That was a very good performance by him. See, yeah, Noah Schnapp, yeah, him as Will. That was, yeah, that I do have some issues with that storyline, but yeah, that he's a terrific actor. Yeah, even saw it in season 4, like him portraying like that mental struggle of having an issue with himself and needing to figure it out, like that very well portrayed. Right, and he became kind of a badass too. Like he Sorcerer Will. That yeah, I really like that look on his face when he's tapping into the hive mind, like yeah, like it looks like someone that feels they've been wronged, seeking vengeance, like trying, yeah, finally standing up for himself and his people, his family. That was, yeah, very good performance. I could absolutely see him finding a lead role in some new show. He was, yeah, I could see him as different kinds of characters too. Like he was kind of, one of the nerds in this show, but I could see him as like one of the popular kids in another show. Yeah, I guess he's getting kind of old to be a kid, but yes. Yeah, I'm excited to see what becomes of Noah Schnapp. See, Maya Hawke as Robin. Yeah, gotta love that character. I love that conversation where she's telling Joy, "Sorry, my mother says I'm perpetually insincere." That's a perfect way to describe it. You can never tell, like, if she's she's conniving or something. It's just all the same. Yeah, I love that character. Love Maya Hawke. Yeah. Yeah, Natalie Dyer is Nancy Wheeler. She's really been a tough lady since what I don't quite remember what she did in the 3rd season, but oh, that's where she was an intern. Yeah, she still had something to learn there, but really I felt that character had all the way matured in season 4. Like she'd become this badass lady. And yeah, she played it well. Yeah, I love the conclusion with her and Jonathan realizing that they just need to break up. Like, and sometimes that is how it is. Like, if it's just not going to work, yeah, you got to be sad about it, but you got to break up. It's got to happen. Yeah, so yeah, we've got such a big cast here. It's hard to go through everyone, but we got to talk about Jamie Campbell Bower as Vecna. Back in season 4, he felt like because he was Vecna so much of the time, he wasn't Henry a lot of the time. He was Vecna, so it's hard to act through all the makeup. But yeah, like that look on his face when he's determined, like that evil, conniving look, like he has the perfect look for the role. That antagonist, like big-eyed. Yeah, I bet the Duffers will, like, when they found him, they're like, "We found the gem. This guy is a perfect antagonist." And yeah, I'm very excited to see where he goes in his career next. He's a terrific actor. Could see him. Wonder what kind of protagonist he'd be. Like an anti-hero, maybe someone broken at their core. Yeah. Yeah, he was excellent. Loved him as Mr. Whatsit. Yeah, like especially like when he's hiding something, like that conniving look, like big eyes. Yeah. I wish him all the best in his career. He's a terrific actor. Yeah, and even Nell Fisher as Holly Wheeler, like, yeah, people like child actors that are really good are rare. I didn't think she was excellent, but for her age, she was pretty good.
yeah, like I wouldn't say quite as good as the original 4 were in that first season. I think that the crown jewel example of terrific child actors is A Christmas Story. I don't know their names by heart, but yeah, Ralphie just wanting his BB gun. Yeah, his little brother Randy, especially, and considering how old that actor must have been to play that role, it was perfect. Like that whiny sigh. Always, that's exactly what it sounds like when a little boy is complaining. Right, so, yep, those are just a few names I named. Really, actors were terrific all around. Should be very proud of themselves. Look forward to seeing what projects they do next. Yeah, another thing I should shout out that was really good, the special effects. Yeah, loved the Gorgons early on. I'd been looking forward to seeing a lot of Demogorgons. I feel like that's something we haven't seen enough of throughout the show, is there being a lot of the big monsters. We got a lot of the Demo Dogs in season 2, but yeah, it's the big ones that we really like. So we got a bunch of them. Yeah, so yeah, those are some major highlights of Stranger Things season 5. Now let's get into some things I felt could have been better, but yeah, we're not quite there yet. We're just going into something more specific. The Duffers had hyped up this season with the promise of answers, particularly about the Upside Down, how the sci-fi of it all works. And I felt like I didn't get as many answers as I wanted to. Yeah, so let's talk about some things that I'm still not clear on. So why didn't a wormhole, one of these, an upside down, like that wormhole area, why didn't one of those form when Elle banished Henry to the abyss initially? I don't understand what was different about that as opposed to, when the upside down formed. I guess, Dustin found the physics for a wormhole in Brenner's notes, so maybe Brenner had done something that allowed that breach to stay open, so something like that. But yeah, I'm not clear on it. If we had seen a shot of some machine, like Brenner saying it's just gonna stabilize it, right? Something like that makes it clear what exactly needs to happen for one of those wormholes to form. That would have made it a bit more clear. I think maybe the Duffers don't really know themselves. They did hadn't thought of it, but yeah, let's see. Yeah, another thing is the concept of gravity in that wormhole space. So yeah, when Holly goes through that crack in the abyss, she falls straight down to Hawkins. Gravity was pulling her that way. But I figured, well, from what I understand, it seems like each end of it should be pulling stuff to the disc, to that flat area on each side, but everything just kind of went down toward the Hawkins upside down. From the floating rocks, I figured that's what they were going for, that gravity shifts in the middle, and yeah, whichever side you're closer to is what you're going to be pulled to. But no, Holly fell straight down. So yeah, I didn't understand that. How does gravity work in here and why? Yeah, so yeah, something I'm not clear on there. Right, so yeah, also, why isn't that exotic matter the thing that holds it together in the middle? Right, it's if that's what holds it all together, that from what I know about geometry and physics, which isn't much, but it makes sense that it should be right in the middle, right? But it wasn't, so yeah, I didn't get that. Really, they could just solve that by just putting the ceiling down closer, but yeah, they wanted room for the finale of it crashing down, I guess. But yeah, guess maybe that's another Brenner thing we didn't see. That's where he made it. But yeah, it doesn't have to
all stem from there somehow. I don't know. I didn't understand. Right, and well, why is the Upside Down a clone of Hawkins? And again, I assume that the ceiling is a clone of the Abyss. That's that same principle, but yeah, I don't understand how that works. If it's physics and not a being's intentionality that makes it, that's made this wormhole, then yeah, how did Hawkins get perfectly cloned? Except for people, organic stuff. Yeah, so I could only assume like it literally got, pulled into a clone. But again, that doesn't explain like the lack of the people. Like why did only certain things get cloned? Yeah, if I were the Duffers, I would have shown a shot of it literally getting pulled and, it's like the boop clone. Yeah, but yeah, then when it comes to the organics, I would have clones the people, but not in their consciousnesses, as in they're just empty bodies. Like all of a sudden they're just empty bodies. They fall to the ground and we see the vines gather them up and use them to assemble the wall. Yeah, that could explain like where that organic wall comes from. Yeah, like seeing a sequence like that would have helped me understand like how it is that Hawkins got cloned as part of this wormhole experiment, like how all that science works. Right, and speaking of the walls, well, why are they organic? Right, like we didn't really get an answer there. Feel like what I just said, that's probably the best answer we can come up with there, but yeah, like did the Duffers decide that wormholes, just have these organic barriers? This seems weird. That my guess is that the actual wall isn't organic. Like maybe it's a solid form of exotic matter, or maybe it's, maybe you could portray it like a mirror, maybe, or just like a black nothingness. Yeah, but that the layer that is organic probably was put there by the Mind Flayer and Henry. Yeah, and they probably put it there to reinforce it. Maybe. Yeah, like we see how weak it really is when they shoot the exotic matter over Hawkins' lab. So maybe they did that to reinforce the barrier, and maybe they used that wall for stuff. Like maybe they breed demobats, demo creatures, all the demo creatures from there. Right. So, and I did get my prediction about the wall right. That was the main prediction I got right this time around. That is the actual end of the Upside Down. It's, the edge of that realm, not a wall between that and something else. It is the actual edge. So, hooray, Rosie got that right. All right, let's talk a bit more about the Mind Flayer, the Hive Mind, we'll call it. Yeah, so what exactly is it? I'm still not perfectly clear on this, but I have like a theory, I guess, that I like, that I'm kind of sticking with. And I think you'll like it too. I think this will enhance your enjoyment of it, understanding it like this. So, yeah, it's something between a virus, a literal virus, a sickness, the flu, COVID. That, yeah, so something between that and a hive mind insect, like bees and ants. Yeah, that's I think makes the most sense. And that raises the question, is there a queen? Like, is there one of those Mind Flayer particles, they call them, that is the queen, the actual mind? And I'm thinking, no. I think that's the role the role that Henry serves to them. I think that's why they sought Henry out. Like, after all, like, he's what gives it that shape, right? He finds it and shapes it. That's, it's like a queen coordinating a colony. So, yeah, that's I think their actual symbiotic relationship is, like this virus colony mass lacked a brain, the true leader, a queen, and that's what Henry ends up becoming to it. Like it's what gives it shape, what coordinates it. Yeah, like it's this missing piece, and he's what completed it. And that also makes the tunnels a bit more interesting because they become kind of like an anthill, right? That's kind of a neat way to think about it. Yeah, and yeah, I'm also still confused about whether like is the upside down, that wormhole, like physically under Hawkins? Because yeah, from the diagram it looks that way. Like if you were to dig in Hawkins, dig through, would you reach the upside down? I'm not clear on that. Or like do you need like that specific thing, like someone that can open a portal to open it? So that can't be entirely true. It can't actually physically be underneath directly, because we've seen portals like, like the one in the tree in season 1 that, you're going this way, not down, and you do go through that tree on the other side. So yeah, that can't be exactly how it works. So yeah, like yeah, I'm not sure the Duffers have an answer either. They just like the idea of it being a wormhole. They're working with that. Right. So yeah, there was also this unanswered question that they kind of failed to draw our gaze to. So yeah, going into this season, they had talked about how there was a huge hint for something in season 2 when Will is the spy, right? And like made it sound like this was integral to understanding everything. But what it seems to have been is that Will dug the tunnels that we see in season 2 and that they were using in this season. But it's a bad mystery setup because we don't know that there is a mystery, and they never draw our attention to that question: who made these tunnels? How did they come to be? So we never know to ask it, right? And also, it's not something that requires an explanation. Like, it's a simple enough thing, we can assume that the vines carved it out, or that maybe the Demogorgons helped, right? So yeah, without drawing our gaze to the question, or they don't make it clear there's something to behold there, so we never ask the question. It's not this big reveal and they intended it to be, because we never cared. We never were asking how these tunnels come to be, right? Like, if they wanted us to be thinking about that, and they should have put some line somewhere, like so Joyce going, how could these have been dug out? How did these get here? Who dug them? That tells us, the audience, you're supposed to be thinking about this. There is an answer to this question. But yeah, because they had no line like that in there, we never know. We're supposed to be wondering about that. Yes, and on top of that, it doesn't require an explanation. Yeah, we can assume a certain thing that makes enough sense that, yeah, we never asked that question. So yeah, it was a bad mystery setup there. Now we should talk about Will's coming out scene. Yeah, a lot of pushback on this. Yeah, it was forced. It felt forced. Yeah, really, like, part of what I disliked so much about it is he quite literally stops everyone, in the middle of this time-sensitive situation. Like, everyone stop what you're doing, like, put everything down. I need to talk to you guys about something. Then, it takes this really long time to get it out. Like, say, yeah, I don't like girls. Like, yeah, right. Like, that's kind of like what the trope has become with these forced, right? These forced coming out of the closet things. Like, yeah, it's like what South Park made fun of with Tweak and Craig. Man, that was so funny. Of that episode. It often feels like it's being forced in there, just like, like almost as a token. Like, it's. The thing is, I didn't feel that way about it in season 4. I think that was largely because, like, him having the attraction to Mike helped alleviate it. Like, it's more than just he's struggling with his personal identity. He likes someone else that's, someone that he's been close with since forever, and now he's questioning the nature of his feelings about him. That, yeah, like that gave it this other thing. But now, like, it's like, yeah, like the way he literally stopped everyone to take us out of what was going on, like to have that moment, like it felt so forced. And they tried to alleviate it with like tying it to the powers, but ultimately, like, I didn't feel that he really became more powerful after. Like, what was really so much more impressive about what he was doing in the finale as opposed to when he first killed all the Demogorgons. Like, it wasn't obvious it had been enhanced. Like, if he had made the difference in the fight, which he made a bit of a difference, it didn't feel like it was all him, though. Yeah, or even mainly him. Like, if we had seen him take control of that Godzilla body, like stop it, or like rip the Mind Flayer out of it, that would have been badass. Then I would have went, okay, so like that moment needed to happen to set this up, setting up that now that other people that he cares about have accepted him for who he is. Now he is at his full strength. Yeah, mentally, like just full wellness. You know, that's what we call it now. All right, so yeah, and the thing is, I didn't dislike that they got away from him being attracted to Mike, because that wasn't going to happen, right? So, yeah, it would have been kind of sad if they had went further with that bit in, like, you know, some sort of rejection. But yeah, like I liked what they tried to do with like personal empowerment, like, you know, like what Robin was saying, like this is just you fixating on something because you need to, but you don't. You can't just be the person you are and be happy about it. So yeah, and that's a struggle. I don't know. I'm a straight man, so this could have been done better. But man, like Noah Schnapp's performance was excellent this season. Yeah, he's a fantastic actor. Now let's talk a bit more about Vecna / Henry Creel. So I did love his new body. I love that design work. Yeah, a lot more than I liked it. Well, like what they did for it in season 2, but the actual holes in the body, like the way everything like builds around him, really likes that design work. Yeah, great special effects on that. And his grand plan. So while it was a little straightforward, not in the sense that it was obvious to us, but once, you know, the characters, like the protagonist group, had figured it out, nothing really changed from that point on. There was no master trickery or nothing they had gotten wrong about it, really. So that was kind of disappointing to me. I feel like there needed to be one more twist toward the end, where they had to change plans, be like, oh, we were wrong about something. That's not exactly what he's planning, or he's prepared some sort of trap, a countermeasure. But no, there was nothing like that in there. So yeah, and another reason I'm bummed is because I had wondered, like after I saw that spire in the last drop of episodes, I wondered if that was a giant body. I was like, oh, it's organic. Yeah, it's this whole organic thing. We saw like the spider monster in the 3rd season. I wonder if that is a giant body, like for the Mind Flayer. And they actually wondered if the walls, the organic walls, were part of it. Like, is the Upside Down like part of this giant, massive kaiju kind of deal? But yeah, the walls weren't part of the hive mind, not part of that body. But yeah, so if I had managed to sneak another video in, I would have gotten that prediction right. Dang. But yeah, I can't prove it now that it's out. I can't prove I had thought of it ahead of time. So, oh well. Win some, you lose some, right? Yeah, win and lose is the wrong terminology. I think we shouldn't use that terminology when it comes to knowledge as much as we do. I think it just lends itself to a hostile mindset. Yeah, So, but yeah, but it would have been cool if I had gotten that right. It would have been fun. Right, and I did love the massive kaiju body. That was a really good design, and I wish we had seen more of it. Like, it didn't get as much screen time as it deserved. And again, like that last boss fight, it was all just too easy. Like, nothing ever turns the tide back in Henry and the Mind Flayer's direction to to force the protagonist to change plans, figure something else out, maybe pay a price, maybe someone dies. But yeah, nothing like that ever happens. It just becomes way too easy for them. Yeah, and we don't get a lot of screen time with that, with that cool giant monster, which I get because of money. Like, that's really what that is. Like, special effects like that are expensive and really hard to execute. So I understand why the Duffers didn't do more of it. But come on, this is the finale of your, like, a masterpiece you've been working on for decades, maybe most of your lives. Like, yeah, like, do it up, do it right. Like, but yeah, we got what we got, and what we got was good. We just didn't get enough. Right. So, yeah. And another thing about the Abyss, or Dimension X, is what was historically been called before. To me, I never really felt like that looked like a natural home for the Gorgon creatures, divines, etc. Because it's very dry. It's this desert environment, and like they all seem like wet creatures to me. Like they're almost amphibious. So yeah, I always, like, at least until seeing that, I always figured they'd have like a wet environment. That'd be their natural habitat. But yeah, like that disjunct there was just distracting to me. Like, this doesn't feel like these creatures would live in a place like that. But yeah, but I do get deserts. Like, one of the reasons, like, we see deserts over and over again in sci-fi, like Star Wars, for instance, there's a lot of desert in Star Wars, is because as a filmmaker, desert is your friend. Like, it's super easy to shoot on. There's, not a lot of, call it, assets in it. So yeah, like, you don't have to work with a bunch of trees, especially if you're not on location. If you are generating it, you don't have to generate a huge amount of trees. Works like that in gaming too, like in what's it called, I have Star Wars Outlaws. So Tatooine, that planet, loads so much better than like the jungle planet Aquila in that game, because like, desert is your friend when it comes to technology. Like, jungles have a bunch of stuff in it. it's hard. It is more to load. Desert is not much to load. It's plain. So yeah, again, I get we'll call it the economic side to it, but like, it's just not that interesting. Desert is kind of boring. But yeah, that's what's up. And Jamie Campbell Bower, excellent as Vecna, Mr. Whatsit, and Henry. Like, all his roles. Love that nasty, evil face of his. Like, he plays a really good antagonist. And I can't wait to see what he does next. Want to see him in. And I think he's, like I said, a good antagonist. Like, I like seeing him in roles like that, but I want to see what else he can do. Like, can he be an anti-hero? It's just occurring to me, he'd be good as Hush in the next Batman movie. Who directs that? That's a name I should know. It'll come to me as soon as I see. Like, who directs the new Batman movies? Matt Reeves, right? Yeah. So, yeah, the Matt Reeves Batman's that Robert Pattinson is Batman in. I think, like, one of the popular theories going around about the next one is they seem to have been setting up the villain Hush in the first one. So yeah, I could see Jamie Campbell Bower as Hush. I think that'd be a good role for him. But yeah, I can't wait for that. I love that Batman movie. Love the show Penguin. Well done. It's really hard to go wrong with Batman. I feel like there's never been a truly bad Batman show or movie. Even the George Clooney, like, where, like, it's ironically bad. Like, people enjoy that because it's corny. They enjoy it ironically. So yeah, it's hard to go wrong with Batman. So yeah, I think Jamie Campbell Bower was excellent as Vecna. Special effects surrounding it were very, very good. Can't wait to see what kind of roles he does next. Now let's talk about 11. So the story has kind of become more about the other characters than her. Really, I think that started last season, but Yeah, and I don't have a problem with it, honestly. Like, it's because the cast has become so big, there's just too many characters to deal with now, but yeah, I enjoy them all. Frankly, I enjoy most of those stories more than I enjoy the 11 stories. So, like, I don't have an issue with, yeah, with kind of giving her less screen time. But yeah, I think Millie Bobby Brown's a terrific actor. Yeah, I think she played the role very well. Yeah, I just kind of lost interest in that character. Right. And yeah, the ending with her, of course, the sacrificing herself kind of deal, and ambiguously, we're not sure if that's really what happened. Honestly, I don't care. Like, you're probably gonna wonder, like, does Rosie think that she's alive? Was that part real? Did Mike get it right? I honestly, I don't care. Yeah, I think we're meant to see it ambiguously. Yeah, I don't think the Duffers really want us to know, and I don't care. And I didn't like the ending, with that ending for her. I think it's not the character I would have done something like that with. And yeah, if I were them, I would have just taken her powers away. To me, that's the obvious ending. Is when the Upside Down closes, that connection is severed to the Mind Flayer that started with Henry, and everyone loses those powers. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I would have done. Just take the powers away. But yeah, and let her have her happy ever after. And also, there's a bit of a plot hole with Kali's, the kamikaze plan. Like, yeah, it's so my issue with it is, well, how do they know there aren't more of those labs with more numbers or people pregnant with the numbers? Right, like her sister, if I think her name's Kali, don't quote me on it if I get it wrong. So yeah, she saw those women that seemingly were pregnant with more number kids, but like, there's no reason to assume there isn't another lab making more of those in the real world. Yeah, why would why assume that's the only one? Why only do that in the Upside Down? Yeah, like, I'd think that the government would have a backup lab for that. So yeah, there's a flaw in their thinking. Like, no reason to assume it does end with them sacrificing themselves. They could very well have more numbered kids already out there. So yeah, didn't like Elle's ending. Do like Millie Bobby Brown. It's kind of a good summary there. And everyone is kind of saying that more people needed to die. And I kind of feel that. Like, there needed to be more of a price. Really, that's a problem the show's always had. And they've ended up with this huge cast because, yeah, they just kind of needed to be that way. Like, they bring characters in that exist to be expendable, like Eddie last season. Like, he's there to die. He's meant to be expendable. And it's hard because I do get why they didn't kill more of the main cast off. Because who would you want to lose? Like, they're all great. I thoroughly enjoy all of them. Though more thinking about it, I do think there are some obvious candidates for who could die. Most obvious candidate is Hop. Like, yeah, like, it'd be a fitting ending to him for him to sacrifice himself to save everyone else. Yeah, and that'd be probably the least sad of the people to do away with, because it is fitting, right? And yeah, they could have lost Murray too, because like, it would have been sad to lose him because we've had him a long time. He's been a character around since season 2. Yeah, like, we could have lost Murray, and it would have been sad, but not too sad because he's not somebody's child or romantic partner, right? So yeah, those are the obvious characters, in my opinion, to have been killed off at some point. So let's wrap this up. This finale season definitely left me satisfied, at least in regards to the characters. Like, again, not thrilled with all the endings, particularly Elle's, but satisfied with how the characters all ended. But I wasn't really satisfied with not getting as many answers as I wanted about how all the sci-fi stuff actually works. Yeah, I think we needed 10 episodes instead of 8 to further explain that stuff. Like, why is the Upside Down a clone of Hawkins? How does that work? That
what are the walls actually underneath the organics. Uh, why does gravity pull Holly down instead of just to the other side of the abyss in the wormhole? What's the mind flayer? Would have been cool to explore that. Like it is a colony of bees, something like that. I wish I had gotten more answers in that regard, at least for a conclusion. I feel like I'd leave this show feeling more satisfied if I had those answers. I did like the answers I came up with. Excuse me. So yep, on the rank this season is 7 out of 10. I think that's fair. I think it's better than a lot of critics are giving it credit for. But not excellent. And I'm really going to miss this show, but I can't wait to see what the Duffers do next. I'd like to work with the Duffers. If you haven't heard from my other videos, I'm looking to join film or TV productions, something like that. I'd be beyond honored to work with the Duffers on something. And the other actors, can't wait to see what they do next. And this show it's going to be a timeless masterpiece for a long time. And it sucks that we're saying goodbye to it, but it's time. It's time. So those are my thoughts on the finale of Stranger Things. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I assume that a Fallout Season 2 review is going to be next. So look forward to seeing you there. Peace.